Let's keep going on the phones. Cameron and Martinez. Hey, Cameron, you're on with Willard and Dibs. What you doing?
Hey, Gavin Shag, first-time caller.
Thanks.
I just want to say I don't agree with you on how you can say that Purdy's success isn't based on the team around him.
Okay.
He's got the best running back in CMC. He's got great receivers with Ayuk and Debo. If you were to put Purdy on a team like the Jets, he's not going to have the success that he has with the Niners. Nothing to say that Purdy's been nothing short of amazing, but you have to attribute to the team that he has around him.
Okay, so here's what's weird, Cameron. Do you think if we put Patrick Mahomes on the Jets, he would have the same amount of success that he has with the Chiefs?
I think Patrick Mahomes has more success on the Jets than he does with Purdy.
Okay, but that's not what I asked. Just so that we're clear, do you think Patrick Mahomes would have the same amount of success on the Jets as he has on the Chiefs?
Probably not.
Okay, would Josh Allen have the same amount of success on the Jets that he has on the Bills?
Your Honor, objection. He's badgering the witness.
Cameron.
All right, but what I'm saying is you got to attribute Purdy's success to the team he has around him, right?
No, but only to the level that we do with everyone is all I'm trying to say, Cameron, because the comment you just made about Purdy, no one would ever make it about any of the other QBs. I've never heard anyone do it. I've never heard someone say, if you put Jalen Hurts on the Bears, I don't think that team would be very good. I've never heard someone say it. It's true, but I don't hear people go, dude, A.J. Brown on one side, Devontae Smith on the other, Dallas Goedert up the middle, and 4 running backs I've heard of on fantasy teams behind me. Never heard someone say it, not once.
Agreed. I think there's just less of a potential with Purdy than other quarterbacks.
Okay, and that's totally a fair opinion. Cameron, thank you so much.
Cameron, thank you. And I'm sorry, Cameron.
For what?
For the badgering that he had to take.
It's not badgering. It's an accurate point. It is a fair question to ask.
You were going to go through every single quarterback and ask him whether or not quarterback A would be better on crappy team B.
Uh-huh.
You didn't have to do that, Mark. That was heavy-handed.
I did too.
It's because I had to step in after one because Cameron, if I may, Your Honor.
I'm sorry. Would you like a radio show without any talking?
No.
Do you not want to be challenged?
I want to have the callers know that this could be a safe space.
You could all gang up on me on the crossover to the point of being like, "We've got you cornered."
Good half hour.
But if we talk about it in the other direction, we're not allowed to do this.
These are callers, Mark. These are our constituents. These are our people.
I was not mean to Cameron. Cameron answered my question like a champ.
Cameron, if I took Joe Burrow and put him on the Crapzilla of Charlotte Crapzillas, would he be as good?
Answer the question, the Dibbers.
The answer is no.
Of course.
But we do this with other quarterbacks in other situations.
We don't.
We just did it with Tua.
No, we don't do it with Tua.
Tua is a different quarterback this year than he was last year, in large part because he's upright, but also because he's got a better supporting cast around him. And he has, he's got a new rookie running back who can run a 4.140.
He showed up a week ago.
And he's been amazing.
He has, but they scored they scored 36 on the Chargers, come from behind, and the guy was not even playing.
Raheem Mostert now is a fixture.
Yes.
And they didn't even have Jalen Waddle, and they put up 70 in that game.
Right.
On Denver.
Right. One game. But they've had Waddle in all the other games. They have Tyreek Hill in all of the games. They've got Mike McDaniel calling plays like a crazy person on the sideline, running away from camera people.
Nobody's ready to put Tua in their top 5, and many people don't have him even in their top 10.
I've heard a lot of people starting to dance him around 6 and 7 in the league. And,
that's not top 5.
And power rankings, some people do have him in their top 5. But
let me find my 33rd team QB rankings and see how we're doing.
Power rankings, schmauer dankings. Nobody, I don't care about that. Grant me this. Do you hear these caveats with Brock Purdy more than you do the other quarterbacks?
Well, that's a loaded question.
Why?
Because I work in this market and I spend 20 hours a week with you talking about this very thing, and I spend another 50 hours listening to this talk in this market on this very station.
My good friend Dan.
My pal Mark, that's a loaded question.
What sound launched this conversation today? Who was talking?
some injured nobody who takes drugs and goes into a dark room and sends Christmas presents back to his own parents.
Fine, but where does he play football if and ever he ever returns?
The Big Apple.
Okay. And the show he was on originates where?
I think it's in Bristol. He's kind of all over the place, that Pat McAfee. He's so big, he originates wherever the hell he wants to.
Rich Eisen did 7 minutes on it last night talking about Purdy as an MVP candidate. This is not a local story. This is not a local dynamic. The Brock Purdy caveats are a national subject. And the reason is that nobody does to these other quarterbacks what we do to Brock Purdy. I've always dismissed this concept. We did it to Draymond Green for years. Well, if you put him on this team over here, right. And if Tom Brady spent his entire career a Bear, Tom Brady would not be the GOAT. Joe Montana still would be. That's just part of the deal. No quarterback in the NFL is penalized to the level of Brock Purdy in terms of the way people view him because of teammates. Nobody other than Purdy.
It's because of draftism is what it is.
Thank you.
It's because of draftism. And I do think that there are pieces of those caveats that they're true and they're real. And it's the fact that he's on this team with this quarterback coach, with whatever, the head coach, the play sheet, the talent around him, and all the rest of it. Those are caveats, but I do think that they're appropriate, at least for the short term.
Yeah, I don't see it that way. Like, because it paints Brock as somebody who's along for the ride. And he's not. Oh, the Niners are good. Right. One of the big reasons is him. One of the very, very, very big reasons why the Niners are so good is him.
Yes.
Okay. And nobody, certainly not me, is saying that Brock Purdy is not in probably, I guess you could argue the best situation in the NFL. You could totally argue that.
Let me just ask you this while we're browbeating callers and each other. If I can just browbeat you with this, and then we can go to the phones and you can start beating up people in Pacifica and Queens.
Just you wait, Tim and Nick and Richie. Oh,
I'm coming for you.
I got a big old hammer. Go ahead.
If Brock Purdy was not quarterbacking this team and Sam Darnold was, would they be 4-0?
No.
Who would have beaten them?
Probably the Rams.
I don't buy that.
Yeah.
I don't buy that, but
I do.
I'm not trying to sell it. I just wanted to throw that out.
There's no way to prove or disprove.
No, it's hypotheticals.
No way to prove or disprove.
You answered definitively, so you'd have him at 3-1 though, with Sammy D. Because boy, Arizona's coming for you.
Well, but okay, they beat everybody by double digits,
right?
Significant double digits. But I have no idea how the offense moves and how that changes a field position battle and.
According to Vegas, Purdy's only worth 5.5, right, on the spread.
Was it even that?
I think it was
might have been. I
4.5
I thought it was more like 3.5 or 4.
Yeah, boy, okay.
It's like 4. But that changes after one game if Sam goes out and is very mediocre. And I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what he would look like. Richie in Queens. Hey, Richie, what's going on? You're on with Willy and Debbie.
How are you?
Good, Rich. How are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The conversation is pretty good. It's really tough, especially I think a quarterback gets more of this attention, like if he's on the right team. I think of Archie Manning. I go back a ways, guys. And I remember Archie Manning. If he was on the Packers, how good would he be? And obviously being in New York, Daniel Jones is coming up. Like, is he really the guy that we paid, spent $40 million on? Your guy, who's been phenomenal, is, and I think until he gets a reputation of winning, and winning a playoff game, it'll be that way for a while. Is he there because of the system? But the bottom line is, I just appreciate anybody that just wins. And what he's doing is phenomenal. As a matter of fact, I think you guys know I'm a San Francisco Giants fan who lives in New York.
Indeed.
I'm becoming a 49er fan because that's always been my second team. But the New York teams are pretty much in the toilet at this point, especially after last night. But, I really called real quick because I knew I tried to get it in earlier. Were you surprised that Kapler was not given the weekend that they fired him when they did?
Originally, yes. And Richie, thank you so much. We love it when you call. Yeah, originally, yes. We all got caught off guard. Hell, Dibs and I are sitting here talking to Fred Warner.
Yeah.
So
terrible timing, Farhan.
If we had had any inkling that was about to go down, we might have adjusted some things a little bit. I was very surprised. However, my analytical side of my brain looks at this sort of with a curiosity before any sort of a criticism, because I do think I liked what you said yesterday. Originally, you were upset. You said they did him dirty.
Dirty.
I feel like it was more likely that it was so obvious what was about to happen that Gabe called a meeting and said, if you're going to do it, do it. I don't want to sit here in the dugout and act all weekend long.
Right.
So get me out of here. Let's get out of the way of the Brandon Crawford celebration.
Yeah, man.
And let's do it.
Reminds me of Hank in Breaking Bad.
I think that's more likely what happened, but you then followed up and said, if that's the case, then it's on the Giants for letting it become so obvious by Thursday night.
Yes.
That, to me, is a very fair point.
That's why it feels like Hank in Breaking Bad. I know you didn't watch the show, but
I
Hank,
know it. Yeah.
Yeah, and they go out in the desert, and it's Walt and it's Hank, and they're both kind of at the end of it. And
don't ever go out in the desert.
Walt is begging for Hank's life, and Hank looks over and goes, "You dummy." He made up his mind before we even got in the car. And Walt's like, and he had already made up his mind before he got in the car.
Yeah.
Didn't go well for Hank. Spoiler alert, apologies. But it's been a good 8 years. So I think you're right in terms of Gabe. He probably called the meeting and said, if you're going to do it, let's just do it. And let's do it now. But I didn't think it had to come to that.
Yeah. And, in the end, it is one of those things I think that maybe we obsess about in the moment. And I don't think anybody's even going to remember 3 years from now that it went that way. Like, you're firing someone.
Right.
It's kind of hard to be like, do this in a wonderful way. No, you're firing someone.
Right.
This is not. We're not going to walk out of here with hugs and handshakes and love for one another. You're firing the guy. I'm sure he disagrees.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's bummed. And that would have been the case on Sunday night also.
Kai Correa also bummed because he's sitting on a .333 winning percentage right now as a skipper.
But he's got one in the hip pocket.
Got to win.
He's got one.
Got one dub.
Got one. And it's over the Dodgers, too.
Yeah, woohoo.
Special dub.
Really showed them.
2-1 win. It was all a bunch of rookies playing, too.
Gutsy.
Let's go to Tim in Pacifica. Hi, Tim. What are you doing?
Hey, man, I'm driving my son to his flag football game where I'm at. But
oh, nice.
I love the show, and Mark, I want to thank you for your service with the refrigerator for all those years.
Yeah, no problem, Tim.
Carrying that on your back.
Thank you. It'd be great if you could show up with like a dolly or something next time. It would have been easier.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Thanks.
So I was originally calling because I was thinking about comparisons with point guards in the NBA, particularly old school point guards back, not a Curry point guard, but like a John Stockton, like the Stockton Malone, the old debate, like would Stockton have been any good without Malone and vice versa.
Yeah.
And, you can go all down the line with point guards. And then I got annoyed with myself, and I was like, it's a specious argument. It's the beauty of team sports, that it's a team. You cannot separate one player from another player any more than you can separate a chef from his ingredients. The chef at French Laundry is not going to come down to Jack in the Box and whip up some gorgeous souffle that's going to be on the Cooking Network and make people pay $700 a night for it, $700 a plate for it. So I don't even know where I'm going with this, but I was just sort of enjoying the comparison until I got mad at myself for bothering the comparison. And I hope you all have a splendid afternoon.
Well, we hope
Thank you, Tim.
We hope that your son wins his game. Thank you, Tim, in Pacifica. Flag football season already underway in some areas, not in others.
Oh, but big time in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
We've got a little Saturday morning league. First kick is like at 8. So you go out for the walk with the baby at 8, and the neighborhood is littered with SUVs.
I'm thrilled that in my hood the flag football season is in January. It starts in January because we don't play on Saturdays, we play on Sundays. And if you play on Sundays in the fall, those games happen at the same time as real games.
Yeah, that's brutal. But then you do have to juggle the CYO flag football
a little bit,
double dip.
A little bit.
If your kid's an A player, and I'm sure he is. Because I ref in the B's. Is he a 4th grader?
He's 4th grader.
I might get Jude this year.
Evals this Sunday. Let's go. Call every foul. Call them all.
Ask our boss, look, about how I dealt with his son. Because I do the 4th and 5th grade leagues. His son was out there. No, you only get 5, son. You don't get 6. This is not the association.
Oh.
He was earning his keep out there.
He will tell you all about he knows players you don't know. I'm telling you. This guy will tell you the Hawks roster if you want him to.
Man.
So be careful.
Just tell your boy,
Be careful.
any slight, don't even make eye contact with me. I'll give him the baby T.
No, actually, he's not like that.
No, he's not.
He'd be fine. I can't wait.
Ref, that was not a travel. That's the older one.
He's
I
not
know.
like
I
his
know.
older
I know.
brother at
I'm
all.
sorry. So are you going to call 3 indicator what, Ref?
Napoleon Dynamite is very much high school, not elementary.
Totally.
All right, Rich and Fremont, you next up. What's up? What you doing, Rich?
Hey, Mark. Hey, Dibs. Look. Okay, look. Hey, I'm going to be honest. I agree with Willard. I think that if Darnold was at the helm, the Niners would not be 4-0. And one of the reasons why is if he's playing against the Rams know they can rattle him. And before you know it, he's throwing interceptions. I mean, hey, this is the same quarterback who when reporters asked him, I think he was playing for the Patriots then, and they asked him, he said, I saw ghosts. And it's like, I don't care. If you're a quarterback in NFL, you don't admit that you saw ghosts, dude. That is a no for me, dog.
Yeah! Rich.
Thanks, Rich. That's become a real catchphrase.
I think we need T-shirts. I really do. But
that's enough for me, dog.
Exactly right.
Add that one to the list, Rich and Fremont.
Exactly right. Yeah, like
I think that's going to be a no for me on the front, and then the back just dog.
And by the way, we spelled that D-A-W-G.
Just a picture of a dog. Pick your dog, and we'll throw it on the back.
I did get the kids some. You can do that now. There's like a website called Face Pajamas, and you send them a picture, and they'll put it all over the clothes.
Okay.
So they've got penny pants. They got penny PJ pants.
That's cute.
Yeah. They grew out of them in like 2 seconds.
That's the way that
anyway,
goes.
That's the way it goes. Anyway, the Darnold question that you asked me is an interesting one, and it is unanswerable in a factual sort of a way.
Of course.
But I guess what you're asking, I know the Niners didn't need all 30 of their points in every game, but there's a game flow that goes with that. In other words, if you're not doing that, are you giving the other team a shorter field? Is the defense then taxed because your offense is not going on long drives and not staying on the field? It goes a completely different way. If you're asking me if Sam Darnold could average even close to 30 points a game with this 49er roster, my answer is no. I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I would bet against it.
Yeah. You beat Pittsburgh 30-7. Feels like Sammy D could have navigated that one to a victory on the road.
The defense was amazing in that
Rams,
game.
you beat them 30-23. That one was the one that might have been in some sort of jeopardy. You beat the Giants 30-12. That was a Debo production, and I don't recall a lot of those throws being super duper difficult. That game was a complete domination.
Yeah.
And it was an adjustment because the Giants blitzed the snot out of Brock Purdy.
Does that turn into a fumble, sack, and a defensive score for the Giants?
Or does Sammy D figure it out quicker and march down the field?
Maybe.
I mean, Rich is right about him seeing ghosts, and that makes it a little tough. And then you beat the Cardinals. I think you beat the Cardinals anyway. But as somebody said on the YouTube feed, brought to you by First NorCal Credit Union, if Darnold was starting, they'd be 5-0. And I got to agree with that person.
I don't even understand that.
Oh, it's because they're 4-0, and he's so good they'd actually be 5-0.
They have to play 5 games to be 5-0.
They would have counted for 2 wins because he's that good.
That's not a statement that you agree with. That's ridiculous.
It's a statement I actually made, so it's a statement that I must agree with.
Why does everyone think that Sam Darnold? This is the greatest.
I don't know why you're
hack.
hating on Sam Darnold.
I'm not. It's the most amazing life hack. I want this.
It's the best job this side of vice president.
I want this. You should all want this. You should want in life to have a resume that says one thing, and then you switch jobs, and all of a sudden, everything you've done in your life is actually no longer true. You are now valued.
Hello, politics.
You are valued twice as much as you ever were before without doing anything other than showing up to work. What is this?
It's politics. Let's look at the current governor of California and a future possible presidential candidate.
But politics are built on lies. Sports is not. It's actually
resume. Politics is built on resume.
Okay, that's fair. And resumes are built on lies. But my point is it's what I love about sports. It's why I get mad at college football every year, because they base their win in the end on opinion. They get into a boardroom and we go, we think you should play for a national title.
Right.
But the beauty of pro sports is there are no lies. You win, you're in. You lose, it doesn't matter what we thought of you. You've got to go do it. And that's why
there are lies in pro sports.
If it sounds like I take the Brock Purdy stuff personal sometimes, it's because not about Brock, it's the dynamic. It's the dynamic of seeing somebody achieve something and having other people, many of us sitting on couches with bellies, going,
jeez,
I don't really think it was that good. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Stop diminishing achievement.
Right.
His resume is his resume.
But it's not solely his resume.
And Sam's is too. We have somehow gone so wackadoodle that we can take Brock's actual achievements and diminish them and take Sam doing nothing and elevate him. What's happening?
Well, what's happening is you're picking and choosing on. So Sam's bad play is his resume, and Brock Purdy's good play is his resume.
Correct.
Forget the teammates that they have, and forget the coaching and the situation and all the rest of it. Sam's not good because he played on bad teams and he played badly. Brock is really good because he plays on good teams and he plays really, really well. I think that you're trying to parse the difference between resume and success, because Brock's success is built on two things. He's really good and they're really good. And Sam Darnold's resume is built on two things. They were really bad,
right,
and he was not very good either.
Okay.
Now, would he have been better here? If he was here his whole career,
better.
Would he have been better? Of course he would have been better.
Better is fine. That's not what people say. People think he's going to be great, really good, or like this team wouldn't miss a beat.
Maybe 4-0. I mean, you're crazy to think otherwise. Somebody on the YouTube said they'd be 5-0, which I thought was a genius take.
Then it must be true.
Must be. First NorCal Credit Union.